Kozozong Pola. Namaste. Good morning, everybody who are joining us in this live online yoga session. Sit comfortably. Back should be straight. Eyes should gently close. Body is stable. Relax your whole body. Observe your whole body with close eye. Take a deep breath. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. During the inhalation, try to expand your entire lungs, chest as much as possible. And during exhalation, try to empty your lungs completely. Now, once inhale, while exhaling, chant Om 3 times. Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Feel the vibration of the mantras. Through these mantras, we pray our Almighty to illuminate our intellect, to remove all darkness inside us, and try to guide us towards the righteous path. Slowly rub your both palms together. Gently place your palm over the eyes. Open your eyes slowly inside your palm. Release and relax. Dear viewers, today I am talking about the asanas, yogasanas for the beginners or the yogasana practice for the beginners. So beginners means those who never practiced before. So how we start the practice, yoga practices, or commence the yoga practices. So before go to the start of yoga practice, some general notes which are keep in our mind, or we can say that a general discipline for the beginners. First thing is awareness. One of the important aim of the yoga to expand our awareness, to develop the awareness. So what does mean? Awareness means feeling of presence, the feeling of the body movement, feeling of the thought which arise in our mind, feeling of any discomfort which is happening during the yogasana practice. So that is the awareness. Yoga is not a physical movement. Some people consider that the yoga and exercise is similar things, or the yogasana and exercise is similar things, but there is quite difference. Awareness is very important during the practice. So the first aim of the yogasana is to expand our awareness, the feeling. Second thing is breathing. Breathing, during the yogasana practice, we must, synchronize, balance, harmonize the body movement with the breathing. Breathing is very important physiological process. Sometimes you feel that when you are agitated, when you are angry, our breathing is very taxed and irregular, arrhythmic. And when we are in a cool, calm mind, pleasant mind, you feel that your breathing is slower, rhythmic, and deeper. So breathing represents your state of mind. So in the practice, during the practice of yoga, we must synchronize the breathing with the body movement. We must, balance, harmonize our breathing with the body movement. So this is important. Third thing is the time of practice. Which time is good for the yoga practice? So yogasana can practice in any time of the day. But I advise you, the most preferable time for the practice of yogasana is the early morning, just before the 2 hours, before the sunrise. In another word, that is called the Brahma Muhurta. In that time, the atmosphere is very pleasant, quiet and calm. You feel that when you wake up in the early morning, in that time, The environment is full of energy, very quiet and calm. So when we do anything, including the yoga practices or any spiritual practices in that time, that is very appropriate, appropriate time. Because in that time, our body and mind also quiet and calm. Stomach is completely empty. So that's why that time is most appropriate for the practice. But yogasana, whenever you have time, you practice yogasana. But one thing, we must maintain the meal, food and the yogasana practice at least 3 to 4 hour gap. Next thing is place of practice. Which place is good for the yoga practices? So the place which is highly ventilated, quiet, calm and pleasurable is good for the yoga practices. We can practice yogasana in outdoor, in any garden which is the pleasant. And now the other things is the empty of stomach. We should maintain, when we commence the yogasana and yoga practices, our stomach should empty. So when we perform yogasana and your stomach should empty, so you perform in better way. So that's why we prefer in early morning, because in early morning our stomach is empty, because the gap between the meal is too much. So next thing is emptying the bowels and bladder. That is also, the important thing before the yoga practices. So bladder and intestine, especially the bowel, should empty before the yoga practices. If you feel constipated, so drink 2 to 3 glasses of lukewarm saline water and perform a few yogasana. I demonstrate later. So about 3 to 5 yogasana, which is very, good for evacuation of the bowel. So emptying of the bowel and bladder is, good. Next thing is diet. What is the dietary rules for the yoga practitioner? There is no set rule, any set rule for the yoga practitioner. But for the advanced practitioner, you should maintain the vegetarian diet. For the advanced, those practitioners who practice yoga for the spiritual purpose. should maintain the vegetarian diet. The diet which are light, easily digestible and natural should prefer for the yoga practitioner. The dietary discipline which is well described in the ancient yoga literature is the mitahara. Mitahara. Mita means a friendly, appropriate, balance. Ahara means diet. In mitahara, the half of the stomach filled with the food. 1/4 should empty for the water, and the rest of the space is empty for the proper mixing and mixing the food with the juices, with the digestive secretions. So 3 things is important for the yoga practitioner, especially regarding the diet. One thing is the quality of diet. Second thing is quantity of diet. And third thing is the state of mind during the intake of diet or taking the diet. So quantity, just we have described quantity, what quantity we should take. Quality means the pure natural. We prefer always the natural diet. Not take much the spicy, oily, pungent and processed food, junk food we can say. That types of food produce the acidity in our stomach. So we prefer the natural food which are easily digestible. So this is the common guideline, a common discipline, dietary discipline for yoga practitioner. We must keep in mind, eat for live, not live for eat. When you feel hunger, then you eat. If not hunger, don't take food. This is the common principle, simple, rules of the diet. And the age group, which age group practice yoga? There is no age bar. From childhood to old age, elder. Every age group practice yogasana or yoga. One thing is the counter pose. When we practice yogasana, you must balance your body. So suppose if you practice the forward bend posture and forward bending asana, so we must follow the backward bend also to balance the muscle group, to balance the undue pressure on our joints, our body. For example, suppose here I demonstrate one asana which is forward bending in nature, which is called the Pada Hastasana. Pada means foot or Hasta means hand. So join the foot and hand together. Their name is the Pada Hastasana. Raise your feet together, stand erect, slowly raise your both hands over the head. Inhale deeply and with exhalation bend forward slowly. as much as possible. In final position, both your hand touch side of the foot and maintain this posture. In advanced practitioner, try to touch your chin or forehead near the knees. Maintain as possible. In final position, you should breathe normally. And after maintain the few seconds, slowly come back. Stretch your hand, and now come back your hand. This is forward bending. So what is happening in this posture? When you bend forward, so the numbers of muscle group which is stretched, which is we can say that flex or stretch. Suppose in the back of the thighs, lower back muscle, which is stretch, which is lengthened during the forward bending posture, and the front of the thigh, abdominal muscle, pelvis muscle are compressed. So just after doing this asana, we must do the counter pose asana for the balance of the opposing muscle group. So we should do the counter pose of this Padhastasana is Ardha Chakrasana. Put your hand on side of the waist, feet together. Slowly inhale deeply and exhale. With exhalation, tilt backward. Balance your body. Slowly come back. So in this Ardha Chakrasana, when we tilt, when we bend backward, so you see that your front of the thigh or the muscles of the thighs, which is seated in front of the thigh, and abdominal muscles are stretching or lengthening, and the back muscles are compressing. So in this way, we balance our muscle group. That is the beauty of Yogasana. In exercise, physical exercise, we can't emphasize in that manner. So that's why the counter pose is important during the practice. So these are the basic, notes or general notes for the commencing of the Yogasana. I think you are understood better way. Now, I advise the beginners in which stage or which types of yoga practices, Yogasana, should practice for the beginners. Dear viewers, earlier we have already discussed or demonstrated the Pavan Muktasana part 1, or the joint loosening series. We can say that the Sandhi Sanchalan Asana. Sandhi means the joint. Our body have numbers of small and large joints. Sandhi. What is importance of these joints? The joints facilitate the any kinds of movement in our body. Suppose when you pick twigs of the grass, so in that act, the joints play an important role along with the muscles. So if your joints become healthy, become flexible, become supple, become loosened, so your body movement is also, healthy, without any pain or any discomfort. So that's why I advise the practitioner, beginners, first do or first practice the subtle exercise of Yogasana. That is called the Sandhi Sanchalan Asana or Pavan Muktasana. We have already demonstrated in our first class. In this series, the Yogasana designed specially for the loosening of the entire or major the joints of the body, including the toes, joints of the toes, joints of the ankle, joints of the knees, hip joint, the finger joints, wrist joint, elbow joint, shoulder joint, and the neck joint. We can say that the cervical portion of the spine, and lumbar spine also. So these are the major joints. We always frequently use this joint in our daily routine or daily work. So in Pavan Muktasana, during the practice, when you practice 1 week and continue this practice, you feel that in first and second days you feel the stiffness, stiff joint, stiff muscle. But when you gradually practice, your practice will continue. You feel miracle. Your joints become the flexible, supple, and the range of motion of the joint slowly increased, and your body able to perform the advanced Yogasana. So the Pavan Muktasana or Sandhi Sanchalan Asana not only exercise your body joints or muscles, also exercise your mind, because in this series we synchronize our mind, synchronize our breath to the body movement. So including the joint movement, including the body movement, they also act beneficial for the nervous system. They toned up our nervous system, especially the nerves, peripheral nerves, which are connected to our central nervous system. Even also stimulate our hormonal system, the glands, subtle glands, which secrete the very least amount of chemicals, which is very important to our body physiology, or regulate the physiological process of the body. And also the internal organs, massaged or exercise the internal organs of the body. So that's why the Pavan Muktasana, the beginners start from the Pavan Muktasana part 1 for the 1 and 2 weeks, and when the joints and muscles are capable, supple, flexible, then you commence the next series of asana. We can say that the intermediate group of asana or advanced asana. So I think that is enough today, and tomorrow we will take the another the topic of yoga. I think you all are enjoyed in this session. Your feedback and queries are most welcome. So Before end this session, we chant one time Omkara and then Shanti for everywhere. Take a deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for your participation.